His rise to the top has been faster than the speed at which he bowls a cricket ball. But the world's best bowler says success is a lousy teacher, and he's hungry to learn more and get better. My guest on Under the Skin is Kagiso Rabada. Kagiso Rabada, welcome to Under the Skin.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
You've had huge success in a short career. You're the #1 test bowler in the world, South African Cricketer of the Year. And yet on Twitter, you wrote this really interesting thing. Success is a lousy teacher. What were you thinking?
Well, normally when you're going through bad patches is when you learn the most. And so that's how I feel that I've gone forward in my game. When you are successful, you could attribute it to the wrong things. So that's just what I meant by that, if it makes sense.
So a tour like India, where things went badly, in some ways, do you look back on that as a more important part of your career than, for example, the huge success of the last Australian visit?
100%. I mean, there's always positives that you can look at and see what you did by becoming successful. You need to understand why. But I think when you're going through the tough times, or when you are trying to get something, that's when you are really struggling. And when you are in that frame of mind, it's almost as if you find new ways of, or you learn about yourself, you find new ways of working. And that's often how I feel that I move forward.
So if I picture you sitting in front of a whole lot of videotape, it wouldn't be videos, of course, but recordings of Kagiso Rabada bowling, you're not sitting there watching your greatest hits, you're analysing what you can do better. I mean, do you spend a lot of time like that?
100%. I always feel like there's something that I can improve, and then I work on that to see, maybe it can give me a 1% on my game. Yes, because, I mean, I don't want to stay at the same level. Otherwise, I wouldn't be better. I would probably still be the same as I was when I first started, and I probably would fall short.
It's really interesting because I saw an interview with you where, as people often do, what's your advice for young people who want to succeed in cricket? And you said, be hungry, which is what we would expect you to say. But then you said this, be curious. It sounds very good for your career, but it doesn't sound very relaxing. Is cricket in your head the whole time? Do you find yourself waking up at night and thinking, I wonder if I did this, that might happen?
I think it has to be,
Yes.
Sport is on my mind, cricket's on my mind. I mean, it's my career. Is interviewing on your mind as well? Perhaps?
No, not all the time. If it was, it would drive me nuts. So,
okay, well, I guess also, I mean, the older you get, perhaps then I'll learn.
Yes.
To just forget about it, and perhaps maybe it's affecting me and I don't like it, and then I can just zone out and shut down. I'll find ways to do that. I think it's all a process. Everything doesn't get given to you from the beginning. And if I thought that, then maybe I wouldn't have done as much as I have now. Going back to what I said, success can be a lousy teacher. So I think I'm learning about myself.
It's a very interesting thing that you're saying, because a lot of people would look at you and say, great athlete, a lot of natural talent, and that stuff just happens. Was there ever a time when you thought, okay, if I can just get my run-up right, the ball will land in the place where I want it to go? Or did you realize from the beginning that this was a complicated game if you really wanted to be the best?
I only realize now.
Now, okay.
Yeah. I feel like I learned so much now at international level. When in school, I just used to run up and bowl. But I feel like I still did apply my mind, but not as much as now. Mm-hmm. It's almost now you're put in an environment where you're forced. You really are forced to do certain things. Otherwise, you're going to fall short.
You said a very interesting thing as well about what happens out on the field. And cricket's a strange game, certainly for someone like me watching it, that it's slow on the one hand, and then it goes at lightning speed all of a sudden. It's quiet, and then it's really, really intense. And you talked about something that happens on the field, and I want to see if you can describe it for us. You said sometimes something can spark you, and you just become something else. What is that something else? Because I've also heard you describe it as almost being possessed.
If I give examples, like the innings where Quinton de Kock played Centurion, he got the 175, it just feels like everything is working. And also, on the emotional side of things, you could go and you could really want to you place a lot of importance on a particular series, and then that gets you going.
Yes.
Or this, I remember once playing at the Wanderers, in the warm-ups, I felt, I feel very good. I feel very good there. And then I actually went and bowled very well. Also in my debut, I said, I thought I'm feeling very good.
Your one-day debut or your test debut?
One-day debut.
Okay. 6 wickets and a hat-trick.
I was speaking to David Miller. I was putting on my tights because it gets very humid and wet. And so I'm trying to put my tights on at the top, and like it's getting stuck because it's so wet and sticky. Yeah. So I was actually late for the team huddle. And David comes, he's like, hey, what's happening? Are you okay? You know, he's checking on me. I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. Then we eventually get there. I'm like, yes, I'm actually feeling good, David. I'm feeling very good today. He's like, oh, nice. Then I got a hat-trick that day. I didn't even plan it at all, but I just remember feeling really good.
So presumably the life of a professional athlete like yourself is to get the best out of those days, but also find a way to get through the days when you don't feel that great. And it might be a rhythm thing, it might be a mental thing, it might just be that the other team are playing out of their skin. What have you learned about doing that over the years? Because presumably at least half of cricket must be that.
It's a game where you always fall short somehow. It is a game that always humbles you. So, I mean, you need to look at it, you need to look in the grey areas a little bit.
Yes.
How to deal with things. So, yeah, so a few players deal with it differently, and they find what works for them.
I want to go back to that thing where you find yourself being something else, somebody else, and being possessed. I think you said possessed in the best possible way. Is that linked to one of the things that got you in trouble in the Australian tour, the incidents with Steve Smith, with David Warner, and obviously you had previous in some other series as well. Is it part of that? Because you said a very interesting thing. I don't know what I'm thinking, actually. Saying, I've got to stop this.
Yes.
Is that part of that?
I think it is, most definitely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of emotion in the game, a lot of passion. And when you're playing against good players and good teams, that's going to happen. So I do think that it's important coming back to learning from it, learning about yourself, why you deal with things like that, why. And if those are the rules, what can make you better at celebrating? Is it maybe something that was slowly creeping up?
Yeah.
Or is it something that just came out of the blue? Why am I acting like this? So those are the type of things that you need to understand in order to move forward.